Hi, I'm Louise Borden. I've written 30 books for children. Some are fiction, some are nonfiction, and all of them come from a passion for the subject that I'm writing about. Often when I'm visiting schools, kids will ask me which book is my favorite book. And I have to say that of all my books, The Little Ships is very special to me. It took me on a lot of great adventures. I love the artwork of Michael Forman, and it's about a very courageous and brave rescue. Kids often ask me what was my inspiration for the little ship, the Lucy, that appears in my story. I came across the name of the Lucy as a small rowboat that was used to ferry troops from the beaches to larger ships. And that boat was abandoned on the beach and lost to time and to history. And just that one fleeting reference that I saw in a book gave me the idea to use that to kind of honor all of the little ships. My husband even had a small reading boat built for me in Maine that we use in northern Michigan. And I take it out, it has a small motor, and it's named the Lucy. There were so many little ships that took part in the evacuation, and I'm often asked, well, which are your favorites? And I crossed the channel twice on MTB 102. This was the fastest ship in the Royal Navy at the time, and it was the thrill to be aboard that ship. I love the Chico. My husband and I went aboard that little ship during one of our times in Ramsgate and Dover, and it was owned by the Knight family. John Knight was the man who helped me become involved in crossing the channel. When we talk about the picture book format, I really love this way of conveying history and ideas to children. Very simple and spare text, with terrific illustrations are going to engage children in sometimes complicated subjects. My challenge is to make history accessible to kids. So I use just the most important details and the ones I think that they're going to love. The Little Ships is a special book relative to my other books because several of my World War II books stand on the shoulders of the little ships. I wrote a book called The Greatest Skating Race that I researched after writing The Little Ships, and also The Journey That Saved Curious George. All three of these books take place in the early part of the war. The research for this book took me on adventures. I read some fascinating books, first-person accounts. I corresponded with people via letter and email in England, and then I went to England and met some of the veterans of the Dunkirk evacuation. I met a remarkable man who was a veteran from the rescue. His name was Harry Elliott, and he and his wife Fran became close friends of ours. Harry's no longer living, but he lives on in The Little Ships. The Little Ships is not his story. It's told from the point of view of a girl, but Harry is one of those men trapped on the beaches and makes his way to the Mole, the long wharf, and he was rescued by a Dutch scoot. I went to Deal to stand on that beach and kind of picture what was happening, the little ships getting ready to go across the channel. And when I was in Deal, I gathered pebbles from the beach. And then we walked the beaches at Dunkirk, where I also gathered sand from that beach. Ordinary kids in a big time in history. That's what I like to focus on in some of my picture books. And certainly I did in The Little Ships. I want kids to be inspired by the courage of others, being brave and helping their neighbors in times of war.